Come in.
We've taken rather more on say-so than I'd have liked.
But Cad said you'd had her checked out.
Yes, but most of the information came from the local resistance workers in her area.
Well, that's all right then, isn't it?
Not necessarily. According to you, she's very much the lady of the manor.
But she was born with that.
Yes, but I've no way of knowing whether our sources of information on former employees of hers, giving her an entirely bogus reference. Maybe their families have worked on Lady Claudine's estate since Louis XIV. She could be sympathetic to the Germans.
Claudine? Never. You don't know her like I know her.
I don't know her at all. That's my worry.
She's my best friend. It still means something.
You haven't seen her since the war started.
But surely all your contacts can't be wrong about her, even if they are communists.
Communists aren't the real problem out here.
Sorry, it's just that Cad warned us to be careful about them, that's all.
Yes, well, it's been a while since Cad was out here. I find them a damn sight more helpful than the Gauls lot, that's for sure.
Anyway, one thing I can assure you about Claudine is she's no communist. Never met anyone so possessive about their stuff. Not that it stopped her borrowing everyone else's when she felt like it.
How do you think she feels about Krieger and the Abwehr billeting themselves in her chateau?
Well, I'm sure she loathes it, but she never let them know that. That would be a sign of weakness, you see.
Listen to me very carefully. There is no such thing as best friends out here. You're doing a very dangerous job. There are no certainties, only temporary alliances. Maurice's cell was betrayed 6 months ago. He lost 6 men and 3 women. Nobody knows if there isn't another informant still there waiting to be activated. Now, when you get to Claudine's, for God's sake, be careful. Now, remember the directions.
From the station?
Where there'll be a checkpoint. Especially after that Free French escapade. What a bunch of crackpots. Go on.
Turn right by the butcher's through the marketplace. And the estate manager's office is on the street behind the wash house. Is that wonderful little pastry shop still on the same corner of the square?
Colonel, in your honour.
The Merry Widow. You remembered?
You must think I'm awfully brazen.
No, madame. I wouldn't, I assure you.
It was the merest coincidence. I was sorting through my record collection back there, and I remembered your remark. When your soldiers were helping me to pack.
Oh, it still embarrasses me to have to impose my offices on your chateau this way.
Please, Colonel Krieger, we agreed. No apologies were necessary.
A casualty of war. No more. Ah, but Lahore. I'm afraid it makes me dreadfully nostalgic.
Music and books. The best way to survive.
Well, you must admit, the German occupation of Goulancourt hasn't been too arduous as yet.
I'm sure we're all grateful for the consideration you've shown us, Colonel.
And if everyone behaves themselves, there's no reason why it shouldn't continue. You can trust me, Madame de Valois.
We don't have much option, Colonel. Do we?
No, you don't. Do you?
Morning. Is this Stalin's latest suggestion for remaining incognito?
Sorry to trouble you like this, but Francois had been knocked down by a lorry.
Really? My condolences. Who is he?
Minette's husband.
So?
Well, Minette gave him the letter to deliver to Goulancourt.
Oh, Jesus, no. What happened?
I told you. Got knocked off his bike by a lorry. A German lorry, of all things. They were very apologetic.
And the letter?
Never got delivered.
Damn. Damn! What the hell was Manette thinking of?
Her mother was taken ill suddenly. She had to go. It's only a letter.
Only a letter. If Claudine has no idea that Celeste is even in France...
As soon as we found out, we'd send somebody else to Goulencourt.
Too late, you'll be there by now.
Sorry, Gregoire.
You know what London thinks of your people?
Wasn't deliberate. Wasn't a plot. And we aren't the only ones round here not to deliver things. What about those boxes of fireworks you promised us last month?
That's not the point. That's out of my hands. You know that.
Exactly. Anything we can do to put things right?
I doubt it. Let's hope Celeste strikes it lucky.
Oh, there was another thing we found. The estate manager's office. It's changed.
Due back on the 3rd of next month, Chantal. Yes?
Right.
I'm so pleased you've chosen this. It's the saddest ending of any book I know. See where it's curled at the edges here?
Mm-hmm.
I cried for an hour after I read it the first time. I was just 14. You will look after it, won't you?
Of course.
I wish I'd known you when you were 14.
You wouldn't have liked me at all. I was an appalling snob. I'm so much better now.
I find it difficult to imagine you with braces on your teeth.
I never had them. My mother thought I was perfect. Isn't that terrible? I'll just check Sophie's prepared the tea.
I was expecting the estate manager's office.
Ah, you've just arrived in Goulencourt.
From Rossin.
Monsieur Legrand has been requisitioned for vital war work. Perhaps Madame de Valois can help you.
Oh, yes, actually, it was Claudine that I get. Claudine! I can't tell you what a journey I've had from Rossin. But why didn't you tell me about all this?
Oh, my dear, this is only my first week here. You remember all those hundreds and hundreds of books we always had around the place?
Well, who could forget? You always said you could open a library.
I was going to write, but you know how it is. I'm just so busy these days.
Well, you always were busy. But I did write. Didn't you get my letter?
Not yet. Colonel Krieger, you must see to the postal service. I'm afraid it's just as bad as it was under Reynaud. Oh, this is Colonel Krieger. He's in charge of, well, just about everywhere round here as far as Prague.
Celeste Sarrazin, Colonel.
Charmed, madame.
We've known each other for ages, since school days, in fact.
Did you have braces on your teeth?
Well, yes, I did, actually.
I was telling the Colonel I never wore them as a child. Celeste was just as pretty, but somehow her parents decided her teeth had to be straightened. And just look how perfectly she turned out. Oh, my darling, it is so wonderful to have you here, I can't tell you. Now, the Colonel and I were just about to have tea. Sophie's back there somewhere. Then we can have a jolly good gossip. The Colonel will be bored rigid, I'm afraid.
Very unlikely, Madame de Valois. I shall be intrigued, I'm sure.
Busy day down there. Can't see clearly what it is, can you?
Ammo?
Could be. Oh, hello. That bloke's for it. Smoky. Well, maybe you're right. Looks like it must be ammo.
Can you hear some kind of machine? And that's sand, isn't it? For God's sake!
You're right, it is sand. And they've got a cement mixer going over there. Full blast, too. So, ammo, concrete. Now, what does that all add up to, do you reckon?
And after Lausanne?
The Sorbonne.
The Sorbonne. You were clever girls.
Oh, we never did a stroke of work. Complete mystery to me how we ever passed an exam.
Celeste, honestly, you were a terrible swot. Always had a head in a book, that one.
Claudine, what do you mean? Every time I sat down to work, she'd be whisking me off to go to swimming or dancing or parties.
That was your real education.
You had no discipline?
We stayed with an aunt of Claudine's. She was a little deaf.
A little. She wouldn't have noticed the entire military academy marching upstairs.
And did they?
It's true she was a little deaf, but we never took advantage of her, did we, Celeste?
Oh, never.
Colonel, I seem to have exhausted my supply of Leha, I'm afraid. I'm sure you'd like some Wagner, but alas...
On the contrary, this conversation is much more interesting than Wagner. But then most conversations are. Was it in Paris you met your husband?
Yes. I did. She didn't.
He was also a student.
He was a teacher from Dijon. He was on a special course.
A teacher? Did her parents approve of such a match?
Of course. More tea, Colonel.
Thank you. Thank you. How long have you lived in Lausanne?
Since I was married. My husband was killed by a British bombing raid.
And when did the two of you last meet?
Colonel, surely you aren't interrogating us?
Madame de Valois, I apologize. An occupational hazard. My wife has been known to make the same remark. It just shows how limited my conversational horizons have become.
Well, you must visit us more often. We'll try to do something about it.
Nothing would give me more pleasure. I can't tell you what a refreshing change this has been from all the normal talk I have to put up with. But now, I must return to it.
Not without your books. They're outside, on the counter.
How much do I owe you for the books?
Oh, Colonel, I couldn't possibly charge you.
Madame de Valois, we are a very orderly and responsible nation. A debt is a debt. Thank you.
God, I nearly died on the spot when I saw you.
The letter. There should have been a letter.
From England. It would have never got past the censor.
No, locally, by courier. Something must have happened to him.
My God. You really are involved in all this.
Well, why shouldn't I be?
Don't you realise what it's like out here?
Yes, I think so.
Well, I wish you could have told me. We could have swapped. What wouldn't I give to be living in Devon now?
Well, I'm here, for me, because I want to be. Jack was killed last November.
Oh, Liz. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snap. It's all so unexpected. Who would have thought it? Liz Granger here.
My name is Celeste Sarrasin. I'm a part-time teacher from Rossin. My husband, Raoul, was killed in a
Liz,
British
please
bombing
stop
raid in
it.
September
Stop
1940.
it! Now tell me about Vicky. What is she now? 5? How could you leave her at that age?
We were married for 7 years. We had no children. Claudine, I need your help.
Come on, Amy, it's been nearly half an hour.
Right, I know. Well done, Lois. You're a gem. Oh.
Can I help?
I don't know, can you?
Allow me to demonstrate.
Oh. Oh, God. Oh, that's wonderful. Where did you learn to be so wonderful?
I once played Romeo in weekly rep at Wolverhampton. You have no idea the havoc the balcony scene can play in your neck muscles. One of the actresses in the cast took pity on me.
I bet she did. Who was it, the nurse?
Don't be so cheeky. It was Juliet herself. We did a bit of off-stage rehearsal.
Isn't Juliet supposed to be 14 or something?
Oh, she was very nice. She was about 35. It's a good age in a woman, I always feel. Yes, she had a child she wanted me to take sailing.
That reminds me, Celeste.
Just fine, I'm sure. You better.
Much. Thanks. Maybe we should swap. You should be the nurse for a while.
They're no joke, these cover stories, Amy. One slip and Bob's your uncle.
My God, you filthy beast.
Oh, come on, I was just reminding you...
My towel. What have you done with my towel?
Deliveries of ammunition, including torpedoes, Colin thinks.
Submarines, do you suppose?
Could be the E-boats. I can't be sure from what we've got so far, but it sounds like E-boats to me. Inspection by high-ranking officer, deliveries of sand, cement mixer busy.
Section 2 reports barges on the canals carrying aggregate moving up towards Prague.
So we have aggregate, sand and cement mixer, which equals concrete.
And concrete means fortifications.
Well, they're obviously strengthening the place. What do you think? A defensive measure against the second front? Or a harbour to raid the convoys?
Who knows? I mean, we know virtually all about what goes on outside our brief. I'm not sure that anyone does except the PM. I've no doubt we're spy-proof.
How come?
Any counter-espionage Nazi agent who can work out the Allied strategy in occupied Europe is at least 10 steps ahead of idiots like us who are supposed to be working on it.
I know it's all a bit like a crossword puzzle, this end, but we have real people out there with real families and real problems.
I know, Faith. How's our recruitment coming along?
prefer French or Italian?
What, men?
Food.
Italian. Long as they don't try and pinch my bottom. Oh, God, this will be the death of me. Good job Cad's safely tucked up in bed.
Thank God.
Can I help?
You're new to the district. A few questions, just routine.
Where?
Abwehr headquarters, Goulancourt.
But my patients, I mean, I have appointments.
It really won't take long. If we have your cooperation.
So when did you find out?
About 2 hours after you'd left. There was nothing I could do.
It's a bit of a shock seeing that bookshop there as well.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. But what can I do if they don't tell me these things? Any thoughts on a job?
Well, part-time teaching. Claudine said she could introduce me to the right people.
Good.
I'm still not sure about where I'm going to live, though.
Oh, I thought you'd be staying with Claudine.
Me too. She won't have me.
What? Why not?
Too much of a risk could make Krieger suspicious.
Yes, there's something in that. You don't look happy. Claudine?
No, she was fine. Except that you were right. We have all changed a bit since the war started. I mean, look at me. It's just I somehow didn't expect Claudine to have changed at all.
In what ways has she changed?
Just a bit more cautious. She was always so impulsive, generous.
Thank God. I'm relieved. It makes her a better colleague. And it's only natural she'd have changed like that. I mean, look what she's had to give up.
Of course, you're right.
Still, it would help if you could stay with her. There's no one else in Goulancourt apart from Maurice's group.
Well, I wouldn't mind. I think we've all become a bit more relaxed about the communists.
It's got nothing to do with politics, Liz. I've told you before. Maurice's cell was turned over 6 months ago. It takes a long time to build up trust again.
I'm sorry. I'll go back and ask.
She may be just being properly cautious, of course. Only you can tell.
I'll ask. You look tired.
There was a drop last night. That reminds me. He came with a new chap for Section 2. Want some more fireworks.
It's from Vicky. Her cold is much better, but she hates the medicine, says it tastes all yucky. And Grandma reads poo, but apparently she gets all the voices wrong.
You'd better destroy it.
Destroy it? What for? Better? Shall I eat it now?
Don't be ridiculous. You know the risks.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have thought your wife and children. It was tactless of me.
You've got nothing to apologize for. You didn't drop the bomb.
Do you know how? Where?
No. That is, they'd been visiting an aunt in the city.
Her house was bombed?
No. There was a direct hit on the entrance to the nearest tube station. They didn't make it there, but they'd left the aunt's. Times coincide.
Maybe I shouldn't have brought this up.
If they had a grave, it wouldn't be so bad. You can mourn a grave. But how the hell can I mourn at the entrance to Cannon Street Station? Anyway, enough of that. There's work to be done.
No, Kit, you've got to talk about this. It's only talking about it that makes it bearable.
No. I'm Gregoire and you're Celeste, and we're here to do a job. And if we let our personal feelings get in the way...
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. I just know you are. I mean, if we do that, if we crush our personal feelings, become names, Celeste, Gregoire, whatever... I mean, if you forget what your family meant to you, if I forget what Jack meant to me, it's got to be talked about. It's vital. We've got to keep them alive. I mean, please don't tell me this sounds silly or weak or just like a woman. It's not. It's the truth. It's what we're fighting for, isn't it? And what we're fighting against is that awful anonymity, those crowds cheering. Oh, God, this must sound so muddled. It's just it's so easy to become inhuman, like them, like the Nazis. And oh, for God's sake, stop me.
No, you're right.
Moved into your present flat 15 days ago.
Yes.
And before that?
In Rocheville. I trained in Chiron. I was posted to Rocheville in June.
I see.
Look, Lieutenant, I am sorry. Will this take long? Only I do have a number of patients to visit this morning.
It's just routine, Mademoiselle Lapin. Shouldn't take long at all.
Nimm sie weg.
Es tut mir leid, Herr Colonel.
Ich komme gerade von einer Besprechung mit Major General Stocker. Noch welche Sabotageaktionen sowie die letzten wir werden alle am Wege zum Ostfront sein. Und wenn ich bestimme, so wirst du so alles gehen. Wieso kommst du darauf, mein Büro derartig zu benutzen?
Tut mir leid. Mein eigenes Büro ist für heute Morgen übergenommen.
Ich kenne dich. Du wolltest nur einen Eindruck machen auf diese kleine Hörer. Recht! Jetzt werde ich das hier übernehmen. Gunther, bring sie zurück.
You all right?
Unfortunately, the answer is no.
How did it happen?
Some very foolish countrymen of yours thought it would be a good idea to blow up the bridge at Fouvier. They'll soon find otherwise.
Let me look at it.
No, really, there's no need.
I am a nurse, Colonel.
Very well, then.
Ooh, that's going to be painful.
Oh!
The ankle's already started to swell. I can dress the wound for you, but you should have a cold compress on that ankle. Here. Do you have a basin through there?
Yes.
Well, if you wash your knee and soak this thoroughly in cold water, I can wrap it for you. think your lieutenant had gone through all the questions with me. It's just, I do have all these appointments, you see, and I really wasn't expecting to spend a day here.
I think you should realise, mademoiselle, that I'm in charge here. What my lieutenant has to say is of little or no importance.
Could you take your boot off, please, sir?
I hope no one comes in while we're like this. They could easily get the wrong idea.
Seems to be the story of my life.
It's happened to you before, has it?
Oh, once or twice.
Is that why you moved from Rocheville?
There was this farmer. I was supposed to be treating his wife, but every time I went, he kept making excuses to get me on his own.
And?
Well, you know, sir. Kept trying to touch me.
You can deal with that sort of thing, surely.
Of course I can. Till one day, he went a bit further.
I trust you had the decency to tender your resignation.
I certainly did. I think I left him with a permanent limp, too. Now, how's that?
Wonderful.
Good.
You say, my lieutenant questioned you before I arrived.
Yes, he said it was just routine.
And so it is. For the moment. There have been quite a few outbreaks of senseless vandalism. No one is free of suspicion. It's really quite useless to take on the might of the German army. Perhaps you could make the point on your rounds.
I don't think any of my patients are capable of things like that.
I think you know what I mean. Perhaps you care to come and look at the wound again in a day or so. And, steer clear of any farmers. Gib Acht auf Jena. Sie ist mir fast so gleichgültig.
And then there's the ammo. Tell those who need to know, and tell them it's ready for collection.
Right.
It's Serrano.
By himself?
Yes.
Amy.
Leave us. Well?
Taken in this morning.
How do you know?
We had a rendezvous. She didn't show up. Concierge says it's just...
You went there?
There's no choice. We had to know. Anyway, I thought she might just be ill. But the concierge says it's normal. They do it with all new tenants.
Not all. We know Stocker's in the area. I'll bet Krieger's in hot water. Where is she?
Unfair. Good and call.
Anyone see you at the flat?
Just the concierge.
What do we do?
Nothing directly. Be doubly cautious. Change all rendezvous.
They said it was just routine.
Got you over here fast enough, didn't it? What about her set?
Hidden.
Notebook?
With the set.
Sure.
Saw her do it last night.
In her room.
No, just
Leave
outside.
us.
But,
The less you know, the better.
Look, I'm not a child. You don't have to protect me like this.
You're behaving like one now. It's not necessary that you know, and safer that you don't.
The set's in the boiler cupboard on the landing outside the flat.
Can you get at them?
Can I have a go?
No unnecessary risks.
Can we still transmit?
Not without Amy. She's the only decent pianist in the entire section.
There's 2 subs victualling, and the fortifications have got much stronger.
If they've taken Amy, I'll have to try and get the information out through Section 2.
No!
Oh, God, I thought you'd had it. Where's the set?
In here. I heard someone outside. I was terrified.
The steps behind the station.
Father Paul has a message for Grégoire. Thanks.
Go to Monsieur Gabert, the Chandler. He tells me his son is leaving to join the general in North Africa. It may be that Grégoire can use the information. Find out precisely when he leaves. Next, see Monsieur Thiers. He'll be in the butcher's at 3 o'clock.
Details of renewed fortification in Prague, the precise tonnage of ships now entering the harbour, and a parachute drop 25 kilometres south-southeast of Cap La Fontaine at 2100 hours on the...
3rd next month.
3rd of next month.
You got it all?
Got it.
Memorise and destroy, he said.
Right. How are you feeling now?
About Krieger?
Yes.
Relieved, in a funny sort of way. I mean, I was terrified. I didn't know what they knew. I didn't know if all this routine talk was real. But when Krieger spent more time worrying about his leg and shouting at the lieutenant, I knew I was going to be all right.
A bit like getting your tenderfoot.
Sorry?
Your first badge in the Guides.
This is going to come as a big shock to you, but I was never in the Guides.
Sorry. How's Serrano getting on now, do you think?
Ah, fine. He's really a lot nicer and smarter than I gave him credit for in training.
Training? Doesn't that all seem like years ago?
It was last month. Have you heard from Vicky?
Yes, I had a letter from her in the last drop. She's much better.
And Claudine?
I'm on my way to see her now, try and persuade her to let me stay with her.
Ah, what's the matter with her?
She's frightened I might draw attention to her. She's probably right. I hate to be a burden on her like this.
It's not a question of being a burden. We're all fighting on the same side. Can't she see that?
Can the Free French? Can the communists?
I'm very sorry. I can't risk anywhere else.
Why here? Don't we do enough to help? Why should I risk my neck like this?
There's no risk, believe me. I'll be gone in 20 minutes. The detective hands need half an hour before they really get a fix.
My husband is a courier. My son is with the general. If they find you here, it could jeopardize their lives.
Please, madame, I've only got 15 minutes. They're waiting for my transmission in London. I got your name from Gregoire.
What about your aerial? Where do you think you're going to put that? You might just as well hang a sign outside the front door.
I've been thinking about that.
You're late with the wash today, Cecile. I can usually set my watch by you.
So, submarines are definite. I must say she's done very well, that girl of yours.
Yours, too. It was your instinct, don't forget.
I haven't. Now, if E-boats are in and out daily, they must be grouping to attack the Atlantic convoys.
It couldn't possibly be the start of another attempt at invasion, could it?
Very unlikely. There'll be more reports of troops and armaments moving up all along the coast. And the other port towns will be buzzing too. No. They're merely reinforcing Prague at this point.
Other sections?
Nothing special. What news of your recruiting drive, by the way?
Oh, God, don't remind me, Cad. I've been doing it all day. Honestly. Most of them couldn't ask their way to the railway station without being arrested. And some of those accents. I mean, I know we're desperate, Cad, but... C'est magnifique, mais ce n'est pas the railway station. Cad, do you fancy a bite to eat somewhere?
I'd like that very much, Faith, but the girls are home from school.
Oh, well, that's fine. I didn't mean anything. I just thought that...
No, of course. Good idea. Another time?
Yes, another time.
I've got a better idea. Why don't you come home with me? Helen would love to see you. There's always some food about somewhere. That or a drink.
No, not tonight, Cad. I'm tired, you're tired, and besides, my sister's probably got another admirer lined up for me.
Well, still thinks you're short of male company. I know all about that sister of yours. Helen's got one just like her. Forever matchmaking. Best give in with a good grace. See you in the morning.
Bright and early.
Party frock, do you like it?
Not at all. Come on in and take those wet things off. Dreadfully verboten and all that. But I deserve a little treat. If I only listen to that jumped-up tart, Therese.
Krieger's mistress.
That's right. Apparently, Krieger's younger brother is due to be sent to the Eastern Front. I suppose that means they're taking divisions from the Western Front to fight in Stalingrad. Your people will be able to interpret all that.
I'll tell Gregoire.
Not tonight. It's curfew in a minute, and you're in no fit condition to go anywhere.
I'm sorry, Claudine. I came all this way to help, and here I am a burden to everyone.
You're not a burden to anyone, Liz. I can't tell you how good it's been to see you again. Made me think of Lausanne, and Paris, and Biarritz. All those happy times.
Claudine, I hate to ask again, but if I am going to be working here, I mean as a part-time teacher as well as a courier, I'm going to need some place to stay.
Now, just you. Put this under your tongue and listen to me. We're best friends, right? And best friends can always tell each other the truth. It's been a nightmare here since they came. Every day on the radio, the news getting worse. German armies in Paris. In Paris. Nobody believing they'd ever get here, though we never had anything like a defence. A dreadful, appalling little man with a Charlie Chaplin moustache, making us sign a surrender. And the armoured cars rolling through the town, taking over the town hall, turning me out of my own house. I used to think of you, and part of me hated you for still having your freedom. And the rest of me wanted you to have it, so that at least one of us would be free. And then to find you here, in the middle of this nightmare. I've done my best to survive. It's not much of a life, Liz. Fawning to Krieger, lending out my own and my family's books, being polite to the petty bourgeoisie. What I'm really saying is I'm lonely and miserable, and I need a friend. Of course you can stay.